Hi, everybody. So, today is going to be another live, the Sunday live that we do. And we are definitely going to enjoy speaking to two wonderful people today. We have Aman, Chandra, and we have Bhavna, Dahiya. And I think it's going to be a very, very interesting conversation today, because we are going to talk about Ikigai, which is a Japanese concept. You know, generally when we live our life, we tend to think of the destination or the goal, and we somehow forget to enjoy the journey. So today we are going to enjoy the journey and not only think of the goal. That's really what Ikigai is all about. If somebody can just let me know that you can hear me really clearly, just give me a yes or just say yes. Okay, Ritu. Ritu, so can you just give me a yes if you're able to hear me clearly without disturbance? Great, Seema. Thank you so much. Thank you. सो कहते हैं कि जीवन में लम्हे बहुत ज़रूरी है, छोटे छोटे लम्हे हमारे जीवन के. हम जनरली ये सोचते हैं कि मेरा बेटा कब बड़ा होगा, मैं कब रिटायर हो जाऊंगी, मैं कब मेहनत करना छोड़ दूंगी, मैं कब आराम से सो पाऊंगी. वी ऑलवेज थिंक ऑफ वो कब होगा. बट जब तक आपका बेटा बड़ा होता है, आपकी बेटी बड़ी होती है, या आप बूढ़े हो जाते हैं, या आप रिटायर हो जाते हैं, तब तक की जो हमारी जर्नी है वो कितनी सुंदर हो सकती है. सो इकिगाई, द जापानीज कॉन्सेप्ट, इज ऑल अबाउट दैट. सो आपने देखा होगा कभी आप ट्रेन में अगर सफ़र कर रहे हो तो क्या आप ये सोचते हैं कि कब पहुंचेंगे, या आप इंजॉय करते हैं? आप हर स्टेशन पे, यू गेट डाउन एट एवरी स्टेशन, आप कुछ लोकल खाना खाते हैं, आप कुछ मस्ती करते हैं, है ना. सो दैट्स द जर्नी. तो हमारी जर्नी इतनी खूबसूरत है जीवन की कि हमें गोल या डेस्टिनेशन के बारे में उतना नहीं सोचना चाहिए. So today we are going to talk of Ikigai, which is a Japanese concept of how to live in the moment, moment to moment. हमें कैसे जीना चाहिए. I'm waiting for Aman. He'll send me so I know I can see him. And then of course we have Bhavna also who are going to join in. और during the talk, अगर आपको लगता है कि you know about your Ikigai, तो आप भी join कर सकते हैं. And you can also share with us your Ikigai. Okay? So, just I want to tell you what the word means. Okay? Ikigai का मतलब है, it's made up of two words. It's made up of Iki and it's made up of Gai. Okay? So, Iki means life and Gai means value. It can be traced back to nearly 794 BC. मतलब इतना पुराना ये कॉन्सेप्ट है. ओके, वेस्टर्न कॉन्सेप्ट को अगर हम देखें तो इट्स मोर अबाउट लाइफ पर्पस. यू नो, पीपल से के व्हाट्स योर लाइफ पर्पस एंड वी मेक इट अ बिग डील आउट ऑफ इट, राइट. बट इन जापान, जापानीज लोग जो है वो दो हिस्सों में बांट देते अपने जीवन को. वन लाइफ टाइम and one is everyday life. Now how beautiful that is, right? Lifetime and everyday life. तो लाइफ टाइम का हो सकता है कि इस पूरे जीवन में मैं क्या करूंगी, what am I going to do in this entire life. तो लाइफ पर्पस हो सकता है वो आपका. बट जो एवरीडे लाइफ है, हर पल जो हम जी रहे हैं, डोंट यू थिंक वी शुड ऐड वैल्यू वो हर पल जीने को? इसी को इकिगाई कहते हैं. So Aman is already joined in, so I'm going to get him in and we are going to talk more. Aman is a bulletproof happiness coach. He is definitely the right person to talk here about Ikigai. So he's going to be on the screen in just a minute. From darkness to light, as we say, and Aman is going to be the light today for us. Hi, Aman.
Hi. Hi, Trupti ji. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for pleasure to be with you again.
Yes, absolutely. It's always a pleasure with you, and especially for this topic, Ikigai. I thought, Aman, you were like when you said, I want to come in, I thought, and I was thinking of you that I have to ask Aman to come in for this topic because it's something that is unique for many people. But for people like
Right.
you who believe that everyday life should be with added value, I think Ikigai is the concept that you're working with. So, for you, what is actually happiness? What is
Wow. Okay.
happiness?
So you've asked something which is like a perennial question, right? Which is something I begin with whenever I am speaking to anyone who's looking to find happiness. How do you define your happiness? So if I were to say what is happiness in a very short way, I would simply say that it is a choice.
Hmm,
Very simple. It is a choice to be in a particular state, and nobody is here going to stop you, and nobody is going to be able to force you. It's up to you to decide. And the best part is that we do have this power, and it can be exerted right from this very moment.
that's
It sounds easy, and it is easy. It just needs to be practiced. That's what I would
perfect.
say. I don't want to complicate it. Everything should be very simple in life, and all concepts, all things should be able to be brought down to one statement. And this is how I would say it is a choice. And in fact, this is my motto. If I were to say that happiness is a choice, and it is your duty to exercise that right. You need to exercise that right. So that's
Perfect.
how I would.
I think it's a perfect opening statement to the discussion that we're having on Ikigai. Aman, every day, what would you tell somebody how to begin his day or her day? Because it's all about adding that happiness or making that choice every moment of the day. So that means they need to define their day or they need to make their day in such a way that they attract happiness or they give happiness. Either you receive or you give. So tell us, what are your tips to make everyday life happy?
Sure. I just want to tell everybody that I have a slight cold. So, in case I cough or sneeze in the middle, please excuse me. Just saying it up front. Okay. So, how to be happy every day? What are the simple tips that you can use? Number one, always recognize that you have something to be happy about no matter what is happening in your life. And I want to repeat that for people. If everybody listening here, if they can just take a pause right now and do this with me by closing their eyes, close your eyes and just ask yourself, what is that one thing that I have to be very happy about right now? And as we do this, you will actually recognize that there are many more than one thing. I mean, there's much more than just one thing. If you're finding it, if you're in a bad situation in your life, you can now like open your eyes and come back also to the conversation. If you're in a bad situation in your life, even then, like for example, if you didn't get a promotion, if you started a business and it didn't do well, if your relationship failed, you can come down to the most brass basics, the most simple thing. You're breathing right now, you're able to breathe easily right now. You have something to be happy about. You're alive, you're awake, you're ticking. Just take your hand and put it on your heart, and you can feel that heartbeat happening, right? Why can't you just be happy about that? Very simple, but very powerful, I would say, right? So at any time, if you just take a pause, if you're feeling very, very disturbed, your life situation is terrible. This has gone wrong, that has gone wrong, you're stressed, you're worried, you don't know what's going to happen next. It's like it reminds me, what I'm saying reminds me of the movie Three Idiots, where
Hmm.
you put your hand on your heart and you say all is well.
All
I
is
just
well.
realized it's something similar to that.
Yes.
If I go deeper, it actually, that's what the significance is. At that time, when I saw the movie, I didn't realize that this is so profound. But now that I'm speaking about this, and now this is like one of the things which I help all my clients to incorporate in their life, to be happy irrespective of what is happening. It's very simple but very powerful. You're sitting here and your heart is beating. Why can't
Yeah, don't worry, Aman will just join back. Yeah, go on.
yeah. Okay, so I think there was a slight disturbance, but everything looks okay. So if
Correct.
everybody can hear me and you, if you can just put a yes in the comment box, that would be easy
Yeah,
for us.
that's great. If someone can just put a yes, so we know that we are back. I think it is buffering a little. That's why.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
just a
think
simple yes. And also, I read in the comments that Seema, who's also been in our previous sessions, she was giving a double high five
yeah.
because that's something I gave in the last time also. So I want to give everybody a double high five here, for being committed, and for just being open to listening to new ways in being able to live your life. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay,
Yes.
super. So that's the first thing that I would say. And it's most, I can give you a list of 10 things, but I would actually like people to just start applying one thing first. Start applying one thing and make it consistent in your life. I always tell everybody that knowledge is abundantly available, but the way that it becomes converts into results for you is when you take committed action. So just take committed action
True.
on this very simple thing. I don't want to make it complex for people. I want to make your life simple. So you have something to be happy about right now. Be happy about it. That's Let's conclude with that statement on that.
Yeah. Okay, great. I think that's fantastic. Being happy, you said, is a choice, and you can exercise that choice. And I think we all need to listen to that statement over and over again because that's very important. Because when you revise such powerful statements, you kind of get a little bit of power. You actually start feeling, yeah, it's in my hands and I can make everything well. So that's one of the super statements you've just said. And you can start every day in the morning. You can just wake up and, see to it that what is the first thing that you feel in the morning? Well, I'm alive. I'm awake, from the dark kind of crevices of sleep. You opened your eyes and now you're back in this reality. And that itself is a gift that we all have.
Absolutely.
It's so interesting when you were talking about what's the first thing that comes to your mind, and I closed my eyes. I had this thought that thank God I've got hair on
Hair,
my
okay. Yeah.
because because for the last 10, 12 years I've been coloring my hair, okay, and every time I color my hair and hair falls, I would have this thing, God, will I ever have hair, or are they all going to just fall off one day, and now that I've stopped coloring my hair, I feel so free, so that was the first thought
Mm.
that came to me when you said, what's the first thought that comes to you to say that you are happy or you have something to make you happy? And I thought, thank God I still have my hair. So, I mean, you can think of the most ridiculous things that can actually make you happy. And it's okay because it's not about
Absolutely.
right or wrong. It's just about something that makes you happy. And that's exactly what kind of Ikigai is all about. What do you add value to?
True.
What is valuable for you, Aman, as you were talking, and now that I know about your work also, bulletproof happiness coach, which I just love the term so much. Um,
Every
I
time you appreciate that term.
which I love. I love it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it actually adds value. I'm sure everybody who is with you, getting coached by you, and they when they say that, I think you should get them to repeat that. You're a bulletproof happiness person. But
correct.
I want to ask you, what do you tell people who tell you that my job sucks? There are lots of people, who are just fed up of their work. So when somebody
Right.
comes to you and says that my job sucks, what are you going to tell them? Because that part of their life is not adding value. So any one
Correct.
or two tips that you'd like to tell people?
So the first thing, a lot of people do come and say this, they do have a lot of job dissatisfaction. One of the decently frequent topics, I would say, that people come to me with. So, number one thing that I would like to begin for someone who has this challenge in their life is to recognize that even if you're unhappy with your job,
Hmm.
you need to be able to cultivate a sense of gratitude for it.
Hmm.
Why should you develop a sense of gratitude for it? Because you are getting something in return. You
Hmm.
are getting, that is your source of livelihood. It is giving you an income. It is allowing you to live every single day. So even if you have a very, let's say you have a bad boss, let's say you don't like your work profile, etc. Something is there which must be good. There
Hmm.
must be one good team member. There must be some learning that you have got. And lastly, you are receiving money. So shift your focus a little bit. Shift your focus on looking at the aspects that are giving you a sense of happiness. You will find something
Hmm.
and then try and focus on that.
Correct.
In the meantime, also work towards seeing how you can align yourself with your real purpose, with what really motivates you in terms of doing every single day. You can do both together.
Hmm.
Creating a mindset shift is immediate, and taking action can also begin immediately. It's not like you have to wait for one thing and then start the other. So, this, by the way, is a top. This entire situation is very close to my heart because it was exactly what I went through.
Hmm.
I was thinking of sharing briefly my story with people. When I started my corporate career way back in 2012, before I became an entrepreneur, before I became a coach, I was working in an organization and it was very similar. I was very dissatisfied. Everything in that work, whether it was the team that I was in, whether it was the work that I was doing, whether it was the way I was treated, the recognition I got, everything was not good.
Hmm.
And I was earning well, but it was just not giving me a sense of meaning.
Hmm.
But I didn't realize that I could still be grateful at that point. I realized it much later.
Right. Right.
What I'm really grateful for was the fact that if I didn't go through this trying journey,
Hmm.
I would not have reached where I am right now. Because I would have probably continued, if it wasn't so disturbing, I would have probably continued working in a company.
Hmm.
And then I hope some of the people who I have been able to coach are happy that I didn't continue with that, because then I would not have been in this line helping people how to bulletproof their happiness, like you said.
Absolutely.
So work towards finding something to be grateful for, even in a bad job profile.
Hmm.
Like I said, you can always focus on the fact that you're getting livelihood.
Hmm.
That is something to be grateful for.
Hmm.
Okay. And second, continue and see how you can align yourself with your purpose. And
True.
your purpose is something that comes to you when you learn how to flow with life. Again, from my own story, I tried very hard to get another job. I gave so many interviews, etc.
Hmm.
I had a very good, I'm from a good MBA institute. My background is good. My education, my work profile, everything was good. But I just didn't get anything, that I wanted. And
Hmm.
at that time, I realized it was almost like a surrendering that happened within me. And
Hmm.
this is not a kind of surrender which makes you feel powerless. It's kind of a surrendering that makes you feel free. It
Hmm.
makes you feel like you're going to move forward.
Hmm.
So I don't want people to confuse the association with the word surrender here with losing control and giving up. It
Correct.
was more like feeling like, now yes, it's time to listen to that own inner voice.
Correct.
That's how I came down this path. And I
Yeah.
realized that I don't know how exactly I will possibly earn a living, but I do know that I want to assist people in living a better life. I didn't know how I would do it. Now, of course, so many years later, it's crystal clear what I'm doing. But the first thing I want to share with people who are in an uncomfortable work position is to stop resisting and allowing the internal flow to happen. You will get guided if you stop resisting what is happening. There are
Hmm.
always signs. Like my sign was, I'm just not getting whatever I'm applying for, I'm just not getting through, even though I have all the qualifications. So listen to that sign and take some other step. And this happens when you learn how not to resist and flow with life. This is what I would like to say.
So, Aman, I liked what you said, that there is that moment where that kind of resistance stops and the flow begins. you
Correct.
know that very unique moment that comes in your life, and yet people continue to resist. They know that they should be free, that they should be flowing, that they can move on, that they are looking at something that possibly could become their passion, right? And yet they tend to resist, and then that moment gets lost. Have you felt that with people, that moment when they could have made that jump or leap gets lost? And then,
Absolutely, it does.
yeah, and then uh, many years later, many months later, they tell themselves, oh God, I should have taken that opportunity, or that opportunity left me, and now look where I am. अगर मैं वो ले लेता तो ये हो जाता. So there are many people who have this sense of like, I should have taken that opportunity. Um, so that moment, that unique moment, what exactly did you feel at that time? Can you tell us that one day or 1 week or that one moment? कहते हैं ना, जीवन के वो पल जो है, वो पल को हमें ग्रास्प करना पड़ता है. तो can you take us to that moment?
Sure. So I believe that if one allows yourself to be a little silent sometimes, whatever confusions that are actually floating around in your mind, you will realize that there is already a solution within you. So if you're very, very confused in life, instead of getting more and more stressed and thinking, I want to do this, do this, do this, take a pause and maybe become silent. In fact, take a break for a while if you want. And I did that. I stopped taking action. I stopped going for interviews, etc. I said, I'm not going to look for an answer. Now I'm going to let an answer come. This is difficult because your mind is saying, no, no, you have to do something, you have to do something, you have to do something. But since I did it myself, I'm telling people with confidence that confusion arises from the mind and it goes away when you become silent. You cannot sort confusion which has been created by the mind by thinking more and more. You have to actually become a little bit silent. So this is what happened with me, and you can say that it almost happened accidentally, but it became clear to me that that's how it's happening. That it was an insight. It was so. I'll give you the exact story. When I say that I wanted to be able to, what I realized was that I am. I feel a sense of purpose when I have helped somebody. At that time, it wasn't clear that I would be helping people with their personal and their spiritual growth and telling or showing them how they can be happy. But what came to me was an insight that a simple thing like when after my board exams in class 12, me and my friends were like partying, etc. And we were walking back from wherever we had been. And on the road, I saw this old lady carrying a big, heavy bag of vegetables across the road. And without hesitating, without thinking at all, I just left them and I ran across to help her. Okay. And these sort of insights started coming back to me that this is what makes me feel an overwhelming sense of peace and happiness. So they don't come to you if you're not silent. Imagine if you're sitting and thinking, oh, my job is bad, this is bad, this is bad. Those insights won't come to you. They're already sitting inside you. So the moment it happened for me was when I decided to allow myself to be silent. So you need to have faith in this aspect that answers will come to you if you become silent, because your worry comes from your mind and it only becomes silenced when you drop your thinking a little bit.
Yeah.
So it could be a little bit, to understand this, to comprehend this might require thinking about a little bit more or just absorbing it. But I want to give everybody a sincere urge that this happened with me, it will happen with you also. So if you've understood this, please put a yes in the comment box. And I want to give you all a high five also
Okay.
for listening.
Aman, a big high five to you too for this very insightful word silent, because it's something that we run away from. We want to keep thinking. We think that that will solve the problem, but that actually doesn't happen. I'd like to share my insightful silent moment also. About 20 years ago, or more than that, rather, I was silently sitting, and I could sense a voice telling me. Um, I was reading a newspaper, okay, the afternoon uh, tabloid, which is called Midday. And generally, you don't read the last pages of the Midday because it's filled with ads, okay? So you just stop at the crossword and that's it. But while I was doing the crossword, for that moment, my mind just became silent because I was just whatever in a limbo kind of a situation. And then I heard a voice in my head telling me, go to the last page of the tabloid. And I was wondering, like, why is my silent mind saying something like this? But I followed it. And I moved to the last page of the tabloid, and lo behold, there was an ad in the middle of that in that page which said "Past Life Regression Therapy,"
Wow.
a workshop in Bombay by Dr. K. Newton. And I was like, why would I want to go there? But that's where I went, and my whole life
Super.
changed. So, what you're saying makes complete sense. So, friends, here are two people who have experienced the power of silence. Just like you have the power of now, you also have the power of silence. So, I think the silent mind is where we live.
You
And
also deserve a double high five.
thank you, Aman, my dear. So it's the
Yeah.
silent mind where we live, actually, where we live, and it's the thinking mind where we survive. That's the
Very
difference.
nice.
And that's exactly what Aman is telling us about. So, Aman, now we come to the question that when your mind, or rather your silence, gave you some hints, clues, what's it that's making me happy and peaceful, okay? You now had to craft your job. The Japanese believe in job crafting. It's a very beautiful thing
Okay.
that they do. Okay, so the companies, where suppose if you are employed by a company, then they will ask you what has motivated you to take this job, what is your passion, and the company will then craft a job around your strengths.
Super.
It's just fantastic. And that's why I guess Japan is the way it is, right? So when
Right.
you started to explore your Ikigai, how did you craft your job? Because now you were entering a territory which was new to you. You had to
True.
attract people by your work, by your story. You had to plan. I also want to ask you, how did the name Bulletproof Happiness Coach come? Because somebody, if you read the chat, has said, I stopped by only because I heard the word bulletproof happiness. So,
Wow.
Aman, you need to let us know, how did you craft your job? How did you think of what to do, how to do? How did you explore your strengths? Because this is really very important. There are many people here, I'm sure, who want to do something else.
Right.
How do they start? So let's have some insightful tips from you.
Sure. So, the one very important thing which I realized is that a lot of us confuse living a life of purpose with having a huge amount of impact, or some scaling kind of recognition, or some like becoming a billionaire, etc. And that's the only thing that really means that you've lived a life of purpose. So I
Hmm.
want to share that, first of all, don't expect that if you suddenly believe that you found your purpose, in the next month or the next year, or maybe in the next 5 years, you're going to become some billionaire or something. That's different. Living a life of purpose and having, like, not everybody is going to be Mother Teresa or Mahatma Gandhi or something like that. And that doesn't mean that if you're not a Mahatma Gandhi, which means the entire world doesn't know your name, you're not living a life of purpose. So recognize this aspect. as you move towards your purpose. It may happen, it may not happen because there are multiple factors. You may not be, your purpose may not require some kind of huge scaled impact or something. For example, would you say that a simple being like a dog, which has the power to bring a smile to someone who is stressed, is living a life of purpose? Who brings a smile to people in his own family when they are stressed? There are dogs which are actually used for stress therapy. There's specific dogs. So
Yeah.
even that dog has a purpose.
Mm.
A mother who has sacrificed her life and looked after the family so that the others can grow, she may not receive $1 billion, she may not receive the tag of being a Mother Teresa, but she's also lived a life of purpose.
Absolutely.
So this just want to differentiate having this kind of huge recognition or $1 billion in your bank account with living a life of purpose. The two may not be together, they may also be together. So just on that to be right. And secondly, when you believe that you're living a life of purpose and when you have found it, it doesn't mean that you're not going to go through challenges. Challenges will never go away from your life, but you will have discovered this source or this power inside you, which will help you tide over these challenges why with a little smile on your face.
Mm.
You will have that motivation, you will have that passion, because the end goal will drive you through every moment. And you will, as you started in the beginning, it will help you to enjoy every moment. Why am I saying all this? Because this is exactly how it happened with me, it panned out with me. I didn't become a $1 billion tycoon or something the next day. I have increased my financial wealth, etc., and I'm very satisfied. But it doesn't mean that you have to be like a Steve Jobs immediately. Just want everybody to know this,
Yes.
right? You may become, you may not become, but you're still living a life of purpose.
Yes.
Purpose comes from within you. You don't need somebody else to say, "Oh wow, you're living a life of purpose. You've impacted so many people." It has to come from within you, is what I'm saying.
Ab-
So I used this understanding to craft my own job. I made mistakes. I crossed those challenges. I kept studying. I kept growing. I kept enhancing my skills. I had to become a business owner. I had to become a people person. I had to become a leader all in one go. So I decided to do it step by step. I let myself make mistakes, but the vision kept pulling you. So don't expect it to be like everything is going to be rosy the moment you find your purpose, but it's going to be easier. It's going to drive you. So that's how I did it. I hope
Wow.
that answers the question.
Wow. Fantastic. Yes, absolutely, Aman. I think every day, like they say, in Ikigai study also, that a day in April is going to be different than a day in December. So
Totally.
every day is different. And that's why God created 365 days, making a year, because He wanted us to know that every day, every month is special. And I think that's what you must have done, when you started to craft your job, every workshop that you attended, every mentor that you met, you kind of took something from that and you made it your own. And that's why
Absolutely.
I have to say, Aman, you're not a copy of anybody. You are original, you are spontaneous, and you make things simple. You are authentic. I always say the three rules of being authentic are: live simple, live simply, be spontaneous, and be original. And you have all these three, Aman. So a high five to you, my dear, and a double
Thank
high
you.
five, as you say. And I love you, Aman, and you're really doing a great job. You are somebody who's inspirational because you turned your life around and you found your passion where you're helping yourself and you're helping others. What best than that? So,
Absolutely.
any last wise statement from you?
I think what you started with, I want to elaborate on that. That no matter what is happening in your life, learn to live and enjoy the journey also. And if you have not, after listening to this, if you have not, if you feel like you haven't found your purpose, then don't settle. Don't settle, and allow yourself space to figure it out. You, even if you haven't figured it out in your 20s, 30s, 40s, you can even figure it out in your 50s and 60s. There's nothing wrong with that. There are, if we talk just about the corporate world, for example, there are successful people who figured out what they want to do well into their 50s. So never let some preconceived notion that it's too late, you're over the hill, or some, excuse my French, some crap like that prevent you from finding your purpose. Keep this. I believe I'm actually using something from Steve Jobs here, because he said, "Don't settle, never settle." So
Yes.
this is something that I have taken inspiration from him. Let your purpose come to you, and you move towards your purpose. It happens together, and make sure that you're always open to figuring out. That's what I would like to conclude with.
Wonderful. So I just want to let people know that Aman may be 30 plus and I am 60 plus. So if two of us are able to find happiness in doing whatever we do, I think the age does not matter. And like Aman said, at any age, you can find your Ikigai. So thank you, Aman, my dear, and God bless you always. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day, everyone. Thank you for listening, and a last high five for everyone.
Yes, thank you. And now we have Bhavna. Bhavna is going to be joining us, and we're going to learn something from Bhavna, who's been also from the corporate world. And how did she find her ikigai? What exactly happened in her life? So, Bhavna, hi.
Hello,
How are you?
I am fantastic and better now. I was actually enjoying your conversation with Aman so much, I forgot to send a request to join.
Yeah, I thought so. Aman can be extremely, what should I say, infectious in the right way, but you can get caught into his lovely words and his, of course, his happy smile. So I said, let me send Bhavna a request. I think she's forgotten. So tell me, Bhavna, what about your ikigai? I know you've kind of read about it, I'm sure. So,
Yes.
what is it? I mean, I know that you were from the corporate world. So, tell us something about yourself because you're coming into the light for the first time. Aman's come before also. So, let
Yeah.
people hear something about you.
So, of course, let me talk about the Ikigai and then, come to the backstory.
Yeah.
From childhood, what I felt was I loved uh, feeling the energies of people. I didn't understand the word, of course, at that time, energy, because nobody used to talk about it like energy. And I just used to enjoy seeing people heal, whatever that meant. So when people were in a state of distress, and then something would just shift in them, somebody helped them. And so even in my own way, I would, listen, or I was a very quiet child, so I would always listen to what people were saying, or more importantly, what people were not saying, what was happening in their own minds. Over a period of time, I understood that I was reading people's emotions, and I was tuning into those emotions.
Hmm.
And and so, later on, of course, when I started to uh, take a lot of, I trained myself with you and took a lot of other, practiced it. That's when I got to know about these words. But for me, my ikigai was truly to see people happy
Hmm.
and see people in their own power.
Hmm.
Because I was a shy person, and I was always told that you can't do this, or do this, or be a certain way. So I never knew who I was. I never knew Bhavna kaun hai.
Hmm.
No, who is Bhavna?
Hmm.
I understood, and I knew if somebody would ask me the question, "Who are you?" It was the most difficult question because it would send me to a dizzy and a blank space that who am I? Because I couldn't, I didn't. I knew that I was not my qualifications. I knew I was not my corporate job, my other job, my anything else that I was doing. I was not where I came from, my background. And so many of the time I would just say that, I would just say the standard, of course, answer. But it was a journey to really, I think so. It was really when I couldn't find the answer. I didn't know who I was. Astitva kya hai jeene ka. It was really that search for my own ikigai, which led me to what I'm doing now, and so it's come full circle.
Yeah. And when you found it, when you found that,
Yeah,
like Aman spoke about that moment, that you had that shift
yeah.
or the movement or the flow. When you got into that flow, what changed inside you? Like on
Oh,
a daily
yeah,
basis, okay? On a daily basis, what changed inside you?
yeah. So I think the it might sound cliche, but I could no longer be the old Bhavna. So I when I started doing this work, I would say there were two big turning points. One was when I started the meditation on my own journey, and the second was when I came into the divine feminine
Hmm.
energy and started working with the divine feminine energy. When I started doing that, I could no longer ignore my feminine power. I could no longer say that I am not going to accept, like, wearing a role, which I would never do,
Yeah.
and but that's but I love flowers, and because I would be very conscious of myself. So on a daily basis, I as part of my daily devotion morning में जो हम routine अपना करते हैं,
Hmm.
as part of that, I always make it a point that I spend some time with my divine feminine. What that means is that the Gayatri mantra, the meaning of that changed.
Hmm.
For me earlier, the Gayatri mantra was a mantra uh, when we would do some yagya, or we would do some arti. That's the time. I never really went beyond that or beyond the meaning.
Hmm.
But the meaning has changed. The way I recite, that has changed. And whether it is dressing up, whether it is feeling having the my food habits has changed,
Okay.
which is also, I have started cooking again, because that's also a very feminine quality, in the sense that the feminine quality is very sensuous. All the senses, sight, smell, taste, everything. So the kind of food that I have to eat, or I want to eat, has to be of a certain taste.
Hmm.
So, so those are some of the things that started to change, and it has just changed, and it was almost as if it changed overnight, because yeah, there was this moment in with one of my clients,
Hmm.
that I realized that, okay, this is what my work needs to start being with the divine feminine energy and the goddess energies.
Wow, that's powerful, Bhavna. I mean,
uh,
as everybody is noticing, Bhavna is very, very beautiful. But I think once your work has gone into this direction, Bhavna, you're taking so much of pride related to your
yeah,
physical appearance, your skin. I know that you put lipstick now and you put a flower in your hair, and the cooking. I love that
yeah,
idea about getting the energy up through cooking, because the smell,
yeah,
the aroma, and it is of course a very feminine task. I mean, it's supposed to be anybody can do it, of course,
yeah,
but it's a very feminine
yes,
to serve. Serving is generally done by females in their homes. Of course, you can have males serving you as waiters outside, but generally it's.
yes.
So tell me, Bhavna, when people come to you, what are the kind of problems they come to you with? Because they haven't found that, kind of ikigai moment. So they must be coming
Yes.
to with certain issues, certain problems, right? So can you share with the audience what kind of problems people come to you with, and then you start working with the feminine energies?
So the most common is when somebody says that I don't, nothing in life is making sense anymore, or I don't know what my purpose is. And lot more people, because we're talking about that,
Hmm.
you're doing a live.
Hmm.
So a lot more people have started talking about purpose. A lot more people have started talking about what is my personal purpose. So
Hmm.
people may not understand the word or what that means, but they know that what they're doing currently in their life is not enough. Just being a mother is not enough. Just being a mother and a working woman is not enough. So
Hmm.
there is this very intense and listlessness that they
Hmm.
are feeling, and they just know they need to reach out to somebody. They just know that kuch to karna hai, because this is not working. And so that is the most common thing that people come. There are a lot of women who also come with there is trauma, whether it is the trauma that they've stored in their heart or their womb. A lot of women and also a lot of men now, especially with the heart. So they, of course, they don't understand, but they feel that they just feel very stuck, or they feel very almost frozen.
Hmm.
They, and their face is also like that. There aren't emotions. There's no softness to it. And so they've come to a point that I they're not saying that I don't want to live, or मेरी जिंदगी से रस चला गया है, निरस हो गई है. They don't know those words, but
Hmm.
that is what they are essentially saying when they come to me.
Right. So, what's the first step that you take them through? The first thing that, first of
So
all, you can listen to them, but then what is the
yes.
first two steps, you can share with us?
So the first, I would what I do is, the first thing after I listen to them and understand, I tell them, please give a pat on your back. Give yourself a pat, because you have come so far, and it's not about what we do from here, but the fact that you recognize it, and you are, despite everything in your life, that you're still alive. Like the conversation Aman ke saath jo ho rahi thi, that the fact that you're still doing what you're doing, and for all everybody else, give a pat on your back. So that becomes the thread, that the a breakdown kind of happens, because some of them are taken aback. What do you mean? And I tell them,
Hmm.
no, actually pat yourself on the back. And
Hmm.
so those who are watching right now, I want to say this, that please pat yourself on the back.
Yes.
It
Come on.
doesn't matter for what.
Yes. Do
And if
it.
you can, on both shoulders,
Okay.
because each side is, there is feminine and masculine, but some of us might feel the feminine on the right side, and some of us might feel it on the left side. And so when I tell them this, there is a emotion that happens. Usually it's tears.
Hmm.
And the second thing I tell them, that from today onwards, you must do at least one thing, even if it is for a minute
Hmm.
or anything else, one thing that you're doing for yourself. For mothers, if they are mothers, I tell them, from today onwards, at least once a week, you're going to you are going to make your favorite meal, and you're
Hmm.
going to eat with in silence, undisturbed. So you're going to savor the meal that you've just cooked. And it takes a little bit prodding for them to do that, because again they feel ha theek hai, it doesn't matter. For some, I remember when this had come to me for the first time, and the mother was like, I don't know what to cook for myself, and it's too much of a hassle anyway. So it's very
Ah.
common. A lot of mothers don't, they have forgotten what is their favorite meal. What do they enjoy eating? So these are the two things I start with, that one, for them to begin to feel, because we have stopped feeling.
Yes. That's true. That's true. That's true. So, you know, how do they progress? I mean, you have so many clients. So, what is their fallout
Yeah,
ratio? Because, women generally want to do things for others
yeah,
other than for themselves.
yeah,
So, when you start working with such powerful concepts, many women may not be able to go through the whole process. Have you had that kind of
Yes.
experience where they fall out, they say, ये तो बहुत मुश्किल है, या नहीं नहीं बाद में कर लूंगी मैं, थोड़े साल बाद,
Yes.
when the children grow up. So how do you handle them then?
Yeah, many times. I think it takes for them to understand. So one of my signature programs is the Divine Feminine,
Hmm.
and on its own, it developed to different levels. There's a level 1, level 2, level 3.
Hmm.
And I remember that people would be very curious,
Hmm.
but they would be like, no, it's too scary. They won't use that word,
Hmm.
but they were like, no, maybe later or whatever. So when I started hearing that, I
Hmm.
said, uh, there has to be a different way that I also reach out, because I know women want to do this and they need to do this. So then I changed. Or what I created was the forgiveness program, which are shorter bites, which is a 2-hour program or a 2-hour program on 2 days.
Hmm.
And once they feel, and I made it a little lighter,
Hmm.
because once the person, any woman especially, or of course men also are part of it, any
Hmm.
person, when they sense and feel what happens in the program
Hmm.
and their life changes, they're like, oh my gosh, this is so much better. I'm feeling there are so, I mean, everybody who's done the Feminine program, which is a longer program, the way they dress up, the way the clothes they wear, the colors they wear, the way they honor their body, they are different people. Like literally, there could be a before and after photo in terms of what that has done to their glow, the glow on their face, and the self love that has come with it. So I also had to change a little bit of the program so that people are able to, because not everybody either they may not have the time, or it might be too much.
Hmm.
So थोड़ा थोड़ा डोज में, अगर खट्टी मेडिसिन होती है तो थोड़े थोड़े डोज में देना पड़ता है, या शहद के साथ
Ah,
देनी पड़ती है.
correct, correct. But do they come back to you after the program, maybe a month later, and say how others are now reacting to their change? How do
Yeah, yes.
share that?
So there are people who've come back to me within like the first after it's a 9-day program. After the first 3 days, they've come back. The people in my office are talking to me again, and they're reaching out to me, and they are telling me, they're complimenting me, and they're saying that something has changed about you, and they're telling me that my voice has changed.
Ah,
So there are a lot of examples. Especially the ones who do the Divine Feminine program, because it's very feminine intensive,
yeah.
where the people in the office or in the family, they've also come back saying where their family has felt that, oh, you are dressing differently.
Ah,
And then, especially the children are saying, oh, but you're looking nice. And, or, that you're taking care of your hair a little bit more. Kabhi oil nahi kiya, kabhi wo nahi kiya. So, they're taking care of their hair, or they're taking care of their skin.
yes, yes.
So it's an initial surprise, but when they hear the compliments from the children and from the office people, the office people want to know, what are you doing? What is it what did you do? There's something different about you. So I think that also gives a validation in a good way.
Hmm.
It makes them that, yes, I am worth it. I am worth the energy that I'm spending on myself, the love that I'm spending on creating within my own self.
And Bhavna, I think the most important thing is that they realize that the change has come from within. It's not that something
Yeah.
outside has changed. There's no external thing that has changed, but still they are changing. I think that's the power of the program that you do, Bhavna. I'd love in just just give me a second. I think, yeah. If you can just let me know that you've been doing the program now for at least 3 years, Bhavna?
2 years. The Divine Feminine, 2 years.
Years.
Yeah.
So, what is the change that's come inside you as a coach, as a trainer, as a healer? Because when you start
Hmm.
with others, obviously there are changes, profound changes that happen within yourself. Your kind of belief system starts changing, your equation with others start changing. You start becoming more confident in your own work. And I think the Bhavna that I saw many years ago and the Bhavna that I'm seeing today, I know that there is a big shift and a big change. But I want to know from you, how do you feel your life moving towards? Where is it going now?
Yeah. And whenever I first speak to you, I remember that I met you for the first time in Seva, and I was at such a big crossroads in my life that I didn't even know I was at a crossroads.
Yeah.
And it was such a divine timing and intervention that I saw your, the program on Facebook, and I said, I just have to go. There was no question about it. So yes, so thank you, Ma, for changing the lives of so many of us, and you see the journey. And if I talk about whenever I do the forgiveness program, the Divine Feminine program, it is, I think, the first strongest emotion that I feel is so much gratitude, because I am being shown the way by all those who are working with me. I am, the churning it's not them only. It is my churning that is happening. It's my work is being chiseled, my craft is being chiseled, and all the rough edges have to be removed. And so it does get very intense at times. And like what I used to do earlier, and now the layers of emotions that I can feel or sense in my own self, in the client, I don't think I would have been able to gauge that if I had not experienced these programs and experienced with my clients. And they're very subtle stuff. My heart has, of course, expanded to become absolutely, I'm sure there's judgment somewhere, because some judgment is useful in daily life. But, just to embrace myself, embrace people, embrace anything and everything that I might have done, I might be feeling when I'm saying any one of us, when sometimes we feel there's a guilt, or that, no, as a child or as a woman or as a mother, you couldn't have done that. So how to be, to be gentle with yourself. I have learned, and I keep learning that in new ways. How to drop judgment, and that the fluidity, there's so much more fluidity in thought, in acceptance of views, and acceptance of, this is who I am now. So if I want to spend time, my time will be spent a certain way, because that is what gives me fullness. Like, I have started spending so much time with the trees and the in the garden, because I just love that. There's a conversation that I have with them every day, because every day I go, and sometimes there are butterflies talking to me, sometimes the plants, sometimes the grass. So it's just so much richness that has come in my own life.
Wow.
And of course, the way I express myself, whether it's in words, whether it's I've started dancing again, and I love it. So, I mean, there's so many changes. I could keep going on, but
Fantastic.
yeah.
It's amazing, Bhavna. I think when you get in touch with your inner core, your being state, because that's what you're getting in touch with, just the being part of
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
everything around just starts moving. You're actually somebody who defines what the meaning of the word Ikigai is. So I'm going to read it out, because I think Bhavna is defining that for us just now. So, Ikigai is what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you are being paid for. So all the four aspects,
Yeah.
Bhavna, you and Aman, both of you are really doing. You love what you do, you love what others need. That's also what you're doing, and you're getting paid for it, and you're getting good at it. So, what
Yes.
better than doing the kind of work that you do? And again, it's very important what Bhavna and Aman both have said today is that it's not only work related, it's life related. You know, you're not compartmentalizing your work, your family, your life, your hobbies. It's nothing like that. It's just oneness. Because I'm sure Bhavna also and Aman also, they both live their life in moments, and all those moments add up to being peaceful and happy. Am I right, Bhavna?
Yes, absolutely, Ma.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Bhavna, last few words, wise words from you. And of course, I want you to give your email to them or a website that you have
Sure.
for everybody. Yeah.
Sure. So if I were to say, the last words, I would say that again, that please be gentle with yourself. You are so much more than you think you are. It doesn't matter somebody else is stronger, somebody else is better, more intelligent, more a better mother, better daughter, better partner, doesn't matter. You are the diamond in your own life. Always remember that. And if you forget that you are the diamond, then go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, and see who's reflecting back.
Very nice, Bhavna. And please give us your website address or your email where people can contact you.
Yes, so I am on Instagram is the best way. So I am here as Bhavna Dahiya Visionary Priestess, and I'll just type in here, but I think you can see it.
I will,
People will be able to see it.
yes, they will.
Yeah, so I'll send a comment. But yeah, Bhavna Dahiya Visionary Priestess. Instagram is the best way to get in touch. That's where all my latest updates are.
Lovely, Bhavna. Thank you so much, my dear, and God bless you always. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you so much. So, friends, we had Aman and we had Bhavna, and I think you've heard some beautiful words of wisdom. And I just want to say that getting to the beingness of who you are is the best way. And Aman and Bhavna have shown us beautiful methods they've used on themselves and they are now helping others to use. So, I'm going to end with a little song today which is about moments. It's a song from a movie, and you all can all sing along with me. पल पल दिल के पास तुम रहती हो जीवन में ठी प्यास तुम कहती हो पल पल every moment we get closer and closer to ourselves. And life is made up of these beautiful moments. So I wish you all plenty of moments like this where you can get close to your own Ikigai. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. Thank you, and God bless you all. Bye bye.